Hi everyone, so I am here today with a video. I'm sure there are tons of people doing this same review, and basically my review is on the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Total Coverage Foundation. I got mine in the 308 and it's the sun beige color. So I wanted to do a review on this just because, there's a lot of people saying that it's amazing, and it is. I will say that it is. It's such a good foundation. So let's talk about that. I also have, and I got rid of the box, but I also have the L'Oreal concealer sponge. They came out with a concealer, and I believe it was like a full face sponge. This is the only sponge that L'Oreal came up with that actually caught my attention. Because when you hear, makeup sponges, you're thinking, oh, well, there's so many on the market, which one's the best? And when I hear concealer sponge, I'm like, okay, let's give that a try. So I picked up the concealer sponge as well. So let's go in order and I'll let you know what I think. So let's talk about the packaging. It's very slim and it's actually very travel friendly. Not that the other ones weren't, because they were. But I like that it's not glass. I like that the tip of it you can just squeeze. I tend to just squeeze it and apply directly to my face. Since the consistency is very moussey, it's nice and thick, but not too thick that you can't blend it with a sponge. I happen to have blended my foundation with a brush today. This is the foundation I have on my face at the current moment. Just for comparison's sake, this is their previous packaging. I know that the Pro Glow also comes in similar packaging to this one. So that way you can kind of see the difference. Now, if you're looking at this, one of my peeves with the newer foundation is, if you notice this color, this one's 108 and this is in caramel beige. This one's in caramel beige. Now, I will say this color is spot on me. It's perfect. No issue. Is very easy for me to determine what color I needed or what color would match me because of the packaging. Now, when you look at this packaging, you would assume, well, standard with L'Oreal's foundations, just like the Pro Matte and the Pro Glow, it's probably going to be the same, and that was not the case, to be honest. The packaging, when you look at this color, this is just the color of the packaging itself. This is not the true color of the product that's within the packaging. And so that made it a little complicated for me to try to determine what color I was going to be. I chose 308 because I was under the impression that it's a little lighter, A, and B, I was 108 in this one. Now, I don't have the Pro Glow. I personally don't need any glowy foundations. I prefer either satin or mattes. So I did not pick that one up, but I was under the impression if this is in the 100s and I was 108 and the Pro Glow was in the 200s, I probably would have been a 208. And then I figured, well, this is in the 300s, so 308. Boy, was I wrong. I would probably be a 309. I'm going to insert a clip in a second where you'll see me applying the foundation, and I will say this shade is a little lighter than I need. So I'm thinking, had I gone one shade down or one shade up, however you want to look at it, which would have been, I'm assuming, a 309, it probably would have worked out a little better for me. This one gave me this ashy look, and as you'll see in the clip, my skin just looked really white when I blended it in. At this point, it looks semi-okay. I still feel like it's lighter than it needs to be. I think I was able to pull it off because as I bronzed really well, and then once you put your concealer on and everything else, it all kind of balances out. But I really had to work my skin with other products in order to make this color work. That being said, it is a very good foundation. You don't really need to go in and set it with a powder or anything like that. It does last a very long time. The max I've had it, I want to say maybe 16 hours. This claims that it lasts 24 hours. It's supposed to be featherweight, long lasting, and give you a very natural finish, and I feel like it does do that. The only real downfall that I have on this foundation is the fact that the packaging can be very misleading, and unfortunately not every retailer that carries it will have testers, and so you kind of, it's either hit or miss. Now, you can go online and look at swatches and pictures on Google, but they're not always going to be as accurate as seeing it in person. That being said, amazing as foundation. You need it in your life. L'Oreal has done it and continues to do it. Now for the concealer sponge. I love this thing. I've been using it every single day for my makeup ever since I got it. Now, clearly it's super tiny, like super tiny. Like I'm going to compare it to the Real Techniques. Oh, they're actually almost the same shape. That's funny. Here's the difference between the Real Techniques foundation or complexion sponge. I think that's what it's actually called. And then you have L'Oreal's concealer sponge. Now, both of these are dry right now. This is not a regular beauty sponge. I say that because when I read the packaging, I honestly in my mind thought, okay, well, just like any other beauty sponge, I should go wet it. But then I was like, wait, hold up. Don't just assume. You'll make an ass of yourself. So I went ahead and I read the packaging, and it said nothing about wetting the sponge. If anything, it tells you how to clean it, but it doesn't require for you to wet the sponge. The feeling it's nice and soft. It did the job very well, and I feel like it really gets into the crevice and the edges of your eyes, which is perfect, and it blends everything else nicely. And actually I also used it for color correcting at one point, and it worked out very well, and the colors didn't mix together, which is good, and it did not absorb all of my product, so that made me really happy. This I also found on Amazon, and I bought it for cheaper. I want to say it was like $3 or something like that, so I got this cheaper than I would have had I gone to a drugstore. If you happen to wet it and then squeeze it, it's almost like a memory foam. It doesn't bounce back immediately. It takes a while to bounce back. And that's just, this is dry. It takes a little bit to bounce right back up. You know when you see these mattress commercials and people like put their hands all the way in and then they take their hands out and you see their imprint of their hand? This is very similar. It takes a while to bounce right back up. I have not tried it wet though, so I can't say that it won't do its job. I noticed that when it is wet, it takes twice as long to get its shape back. So if it's wet and you're trying to blend your concealer, I'm not sure that it's gonna do its job properly. So whenever I go to the drugstore, I always gravitate towards L'Oreal, and it's maybe because every single time that I purchase something from L'Oreal, it totally meets my expectations. It always performs the way I expect it to perform. Whenever they're advertising something, I always get that outcome, and that's worth my money, I would say. Yeah, overall, these two products, very good. You should really, really, really just run out, give it a try, and see how you like it. And let me know what you think. If you haven't tried it and you're gonna try it, if you've already purchased it and you've tried it, let me know. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. I don't know. Tell me if you think that 309 would be a better shade for me right now. So yeah, that is it for this review today. If you liked the video, help me out. Give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. It is free. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys.